One nice thing about the healing brush, I think it started in CS4, and the healing brush and the clone tool actually they show you a little preview of what will happen once you start drawing, painting. So if for example, if I sample this corner right here and then I hover over the crease, it shows me what it's going to look like as soon as I start drawing, and it looks pretty good. So if I start painting and see what happens, it looks pretty good. So it's nice to have that little preview. They didn't have that before, I think, at least with CS3. Um, and then even though I started replicating that button, you can see it's going to replicate it if I draw. Now that is a point where I can resample. So hold Alt or Option and click again on an area that I think is good, and then hover over that button that started forming and get rid of it. So I think the healing brush works when you're continually resampling. So for this area, I have to find an area that's similar, that's desirable to copy, and I think right below it is good. And then I'm going to try sampling that, and it looks pretty good. You can see in the preview, it looks pretty good. And let go. And actually, it kind of did something funny because by chance, it took part of the crease, the darkness, and threw it in there. So in some cases, it actually might be better to use the clone stamp tool, because the clone stamp tool clones exactly perfectly and doesn't, there's no room for like the computer to create its own thing. So if I go to the clone stamp tool and then I hold my Alt Option click button down here, it's going to clone it exactly. And I think in this case it actually works better to be an exact replica. And then if I get something funny going on the edges, I can go back to my healing brush tool and try it again. Because the healing brush tool blends the corners really nicely. And then whenever you have a seam, like with this jacket, I think it's good to clone exactly a part of the seam, like how it's if it's rounding out down here, then you want to find a place above where it's rounding out um, to replicate it. Let's see, probably right, yeah, probably right there, and then paint it on so that it can do its best to follow the line of the seam here, if that makes sense. And let's see. For this area over here, because there's no like strong seams, it's kind of really faded, I could probably get away with just clicking right here along that shadow and then going up to copy it exactly, and then just drawing this whole area. It shouldn't be too obvious, except maybe at the cuff, because it starts replicating the seam of the cuff below. So if I were to do that again, just draw up to that point and leave it, and I think that's fine. Looks better than it was. Let's see, over here, this is where you would use the patch tool. We used it earlier in the cactus image to remove the girl from the background, and the nice thing about the patch tool is that it already has a selection ability built into it, so I don't need to go up and lasso it first. I can do it all in one shot. And then with the patch tool, also keep in mind where you're sampling the area. You want it to be similar in shadow and highlight to the area, what the area should look like above. So that mimicked it pretty well. And then over here, I'm going to try to sample an area like right below it. And there's this big spot over here which is in a crease, so it makes it a little bit more complicated. So I have to try to imagine what the crease should look like. It should be lighter on top, and then it goes into shadow, and then try to find another area. After selecting it, I'm going to try to find another area that has that similar quality. Let's see, so